So good morning. Very sunny here today. It's Jill here from The Lifestyle Leader. I was looking at Facebook this morning and there was an article on about GPs and about the NHS again this morning. They were highlighting that one of the surgeries in Northamptonshire, which is where I live, has closed its doors to patients. And it got me thinking about something that I'd heard before Christmas from a GP that's over in the West Midlands. I was listening to the radio and she was saying that there was a GP practice near her that had advertised for 4 new GPs for their practice, but they hadn't had one application. And she was highlighting that actually now 60% of our GPs in this country are over the age of 50, which means that within the next 10 years they're going to be retiring. So coupled with the fact that we're going to have this gap at the top end, it also seems, and this is what she was saying, that the medical students that are training at the moment are not choosing to go into GP practice anymore. As an ex-nurse, some of you know that, it's a really hard job being a GP. You know, it's 9 years training. You have to know so much about everything. You never know what's going to come through the door. You spend most of your life with the increasing ageing population that we have in this country. And then you perhaps get 10 minutes with your client, your patient, if you're lucky. And then, of course, unfortunately, you know, GPs get a bit of a bad press, don't they? Apparently, it's very often their fault that the NHS is failing, or indeed, the GPs that are training very often go abroad. So it's my experience that more and more people perhaps like you and me, are beginning to realise that we have a system, a failing national health system that simply is not going to be able to keep up with the lifestyle diseases in particular that we can really avoid with some simple measures. And I know that, you know, very often when you go to the GP is that a lot of people are looking for an answer, and they're very often looking for a prescription. They're looking for a quick fix or a pill, and that's what GPs are trained to do. They're trained to treat symptoms. Whereas if you work with people like me as a nutritional therapist and as a Pilates teacher, then we're looking from the other way. We're looking at prevention. We're looking at treating underlying causes, looking at what's going underneath, so that you can prevent those things happening to you. And I really believe that because of the things that are happening within the NHS and are happening generally within this country, is that we're seeing a real sea change now. I think more and more people like you and me are beginning to realise that actually with some very simple changes, lifestyle changes, is that we can make a real difference to our health. And we don't want to be living with the chronic health that we see certainly my parents' generation. You know, people are living longer and longer, but they are living with chronic illness very often, aren't they? And I know that I don't want that for me, and I also don't want it for my family, and neither for my clients too. So there are lots of ways that you can avoid the lifestyle diseases such as obesity, diabetes, those autoimmune diseases such as ME, fibromyalgia, that are creeping up on us, a lot of it to do with stress and toxicity in our environment, in our very modern day world. We have women with all sorts of hormonal issues that we've never seen before. Young girls even with endometriosis, for example, polycystic ovary disease. I was speaking to somebody yesterday, one of my PTs that I work with, and one of his clients was contacting him because his girlfriend at only 20 has polycystic ovary disease. Now, all of these things can be helped by really proper nutrition. Unfortunately, the nutrition that we get today is not as good as it was even 20, 30 years ago. our soil content contains 72% less minerals than it did 100 years ago. The World Health Organization identified that back in 1996. So here we are, well, nearly 30 years later, so goodness knows where we are now. We've also got a world where our food is being stored for months and months at a time. It's being covered in enzymes to keep it fresh. You know, the apple that you ate yesterday probably would have been in storage for up to 6 to 12 months. So the nutritional content of our food, unless you're buying organically, is really, really poor. And coupled with the stressful lifestyles that we have and the toxicity that we're all exposed to. And I'm here today in this lovely countryside, but you know what? I'm still exposed to herbicides and pesticides. I'm still exposed to all of the things that I put onto my body every day, the chemicals. Every woman has about 500 chemicals that they use on their body every day with their personal care products. But also it's, you know, what you clean the toilet with and what you do the washing up with. We're exposed to environmental toxins and also xenoestrogens as well. That's a whole nother subject. So it's really about learning more about your own body and taking care of it. And there are some very, very simple ways to do that. It really isn't rocket science. And you can make a huge difference to your natural health from this moment onwards, if you choose to do that. So if you've got any questions, please do post them below, and I'll make you another video answering any questions that you may have. So have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.